She's here with me in studio. It's been so difficult catching her, but today she's in this seat, and if we don't finish talking, she's not leaving. Welcome to Spotlight.
I consider that as a threat.
Welcome to Spotlight. We've kidnapped you.
Yes, you have, you have. But I'm happy to be here. You've carried yourself well, so
thank you.
It's not difficult to warm up to you and give back what you give. So
thank you.
I'm happy to be here.
Isn't that nice? They say universe gives you what you give.
Absolutely.
To it. So yeah.
You've been persistent on having me here.
Yes,
so
it's important.
I made a conscious note in my head that I must make time for her.
And there's this commitment we've been trying to make to include more female voices, you know, in the media space.
Okay.
So it's very important for me to have women on
it's
this
good.
seat.
It will probably remind people that we are there.
Yes.
They keep pretending that they don't know we are here.
Can see
and
you.
they can have a panel of men and not even one woman there. And they're probably talking about something that affects humanity. And our voices should be heard. But they will say that we can't find the women. So good for you.
There's a saying I like. They said, if you're not on the table, then you're on the menu.
No, I go with my chair, and I make sure I get the space around the table.
Yeah, that's a good one. We unfortunately recently lost Nana Mpedu.
Yes.
I was listening to the airwaves. Someone mentioned, someone asked another person to describe him, and this was one of the descriptions that stuck with me. He said, Nana Mpedu was an institution.
Indeed.
An institution.
I worked with him.
What was he to you?
He was a father, uncle, friend, and an icon in my industry. People under whose feet we all learned, on whose shoulders we stand today. They were there. They were where we wanted to get to. So they became the bar, and we tried to catch up with them. I don't know if we ever will, but that's what he is. He was on By the Far Side. That's why I said I worked with him. He occasionally would tell the story with Auntie Grace, Mami Dokno, and I used to produce it. So that's how come I worked with him.
I think that's one of the descriptions. He was a great storyteller.
Listen, he would never finish. Maybe, probably I came naturally as a talker, but meeting people like him made me even worse or better. I don't know.
Better.
But he's a good storyteller.
And it seems you are so willing to teach. So
just ask him one question and you leave with nuggets of wisdom and experiences that help you navigate through life. He was amazing, incredible gentleman.
Back then, did you know you would go into politics, become a member of parliament?
No, but I was politically conscious from a very early age. Because I've said on other platforms, because of the place that I was blessed to perform in.
Okay.
Plays like The Trial of Kwame Nkrumah, Shaka Zulu, Mambo, Jogolo, Black Star. Those plays were about liberating Africa, identifying who we are, and claiming our space. So I was politically conscious at a very early age. And meeting Mrs. Rawlings and the late President Rawlings at a very young age, all of that shaped my thinking. So I'm not surprised that I've become a politician.
Was it an easy,
whatever it means,
easy path to, I'm not going to say transition because you're still all the things that you used to be, but how easy was it to move into politics, specifically to become a member of parliament? Okay,
so the answer is on two levels. Transitioning from being all that I am, an actress, producer, a creative artist, let's just say a creative artist, into politics was not difficult because we all want the best for ourselves and for others around us and to impact our communities. So that was not difficult. But the difficulty was the context itself. What it comes with is indescribable. It's a tough terrain. And it shouldn't be really. I think that we just, and it's just my opinion, I think we were not conditioned properly and introduced to democracy the way we should have done it.
Okay.
We jumped on the democracy wagon without explaining to people what exactly it is. For example, we say democracy is kebi mamin kebi in a can. So it doesn't matter what you're saying, right?
Everyone
So
needs to say
that's
something.
how you've conditioned people. So you see what's happening in our media, on social media, everywhere. Yeah, kebi. We are just talking.
Be a candidate.
Exactly. And you have people actually even want to force you to speak.
Right.
Recently, let me give you another example. Recently, I got an invitation, like you have been inviting me, to attend a book launch. And I've never even met the person like before. We've met on social media, but I've seen the kinds of people who are her friends. She puts a beautiful picture of herself, and I pick it and I say, she's beautiful. Oh, it's politics. People had to tell me all kinds of things about her. Why do I need that information? What is that information going to do to me? Why should her private business become a matter for people to jump in and take sides for and against her? To what end? For me, I think it's such a waste of my time. I'm commenting on her looks and the fact that this young woman has written a book and published and seen me as worthy of invitation to the launch. And you are interested in all the other things about her life. And you are forcing me to agree with you. And to use my space to promote that agenda. What I mean, really? They, you know, so this Kebi Mamin Kebi, which we are calling democracy, is a reason why it's difficult for women to find their space in politics. And people are extremely guarded. They want to protect themselves so that we don't come at them. Do you understand? So you know that democracy in Ghana is Kebi Mamin Kebi, meaning that even if you didn't know where your umbilical cord was buried, somebody will show you, just because you dare to go into politics.
So this is one of the reasons that it's holding women back. A lot of insulting, a lot of vindictiveness.
So it wasn't easy, but I'm a very focused person. I like to trumpet that myself. That
set the agenda and focus.
I set my own agenda of what I can do, and I make sure I do it. And if I don't think that is for me, I stay away from it. It's easier for me to deal with me than deal with other people. If I can control myself, then what other people do that doesn't really matter.
How important is it to have a reliable team around you that believes in you and works with you?
It's key. It's key. And it's not only in politics, also in life. I've said on many platforms that Nana Hima Adwoa is my go-to person. I have not more than 5 people who I can say anything to, and they will tell me the truth. So I have that team, and I've had them since I was a child, and they're still in my life. And they have not betrayed that trust, and I have no intention of betraying their trust either. So there's Gloria Ofori and there's Nana Hima Adwoa, which you probably know because I'm on Facebook with them all the time. And 3 other people who I don't care to mention right now.
Nana Hima have seen on your status before. Yeah.
You know, so there's nothing remarkable or memorable that I've done that Gloria and Nana Hima are not a part of. So I've carried that into my work also. I mean, they understand my work.
So they're like your personal council of elders.
My personal council of elders, my personal Elizabeth.
Okay.
Are you Christian or Muslim?
I am.
You are.
Yeah,
so you know that Mary, when she was told that she was going to be the mother of the Christ, she chose Elizabeth to go and tell.
Yes.
There was no mention in the Bible of anybody in her family, immediate family, that she spoke to. She walked to Elizabeth's place and said, this is what is happening to me. So I have those 2 as my Elizabeths.
Right.
They are probably Elizabeth to other people. That doesn't concern me.
Yeah.
And they probably don't see me as their Elizabeth. That doesn't concern me. But to me, they are my Elizabeth. So I bounce things off them. And when I'm in a low place or high place, I know they got me.
Wow.
And I've done same with my, extremely. They give me sanity. They give me balance. I've written on Facebook before that I'm sure if I told them anything that I said, this is my secret, they'll go to their grave with it. They'll go to their grave with it. You can put a gun to Gloria's head to tell you what I've told her she won't. And it's important to have that support.
Very important.
And I've done same with politics. I have an inner
circle
team, and then I have, so I have the cabinet, then I have my MPs and my ministers in that layer, and I choose which level to engage at all times. And so far, so good. It's worked for me.
Speaking of the party, recently there's been a bit of wrangling among the base, the grassroots, they call themselves. They are a bit dissatisfied with leadership. They have complained about not trusting leadership. They have accused some persons of selling them out and overly dealing with the New Patriotic Party. Specifically, the grassroots have been agitated by Honorable Muntaka Mubarak. They have made certain accusations which he has come out to deny. What's causing this? Because a few months ago, we had similar issues in the base where people, traded words back and forth, made accusations back and forth. Why is there agitation at the bottom?
When I was deputy minister, all kinds of things were said. When I was unhappy about a situation, I went to people who were above me to make my feelings known. I didn't pay attention to changing the perception of people because I thought it was a Herculean task. I don't know what you know, and that's why you're reacting towards me like that. And if you have the courage to tell me, then I will have the courage to explain myself. But I didn't think it was my place to explain myself to everybody who had an issue with who I was and what was going on. But I think that during the campaign, our chief director at the time was the representative for CPP on a TV show that I watched. And I sat at home and I watched the show and I said, I hope people understand now what was going on at the Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts. Now, I don't focus on minors. I don't make people's business my business. It's just not my nature. So a lot would have gone on in Ghana on social media and all, and somebody will mention it to me and I say, I know you're there. What? Where did that happen? Like, I'm really not. I'm on social media with all of you, but a
lot passes you.
Yeah, I don't go on your pages, so you may have written something and I don't even know.
Because there's a lot happening.
Too much. And you see, it's only when I'm eating by myself that I'm able to catch up. And it's usually a very small time to eat. How much of food am I eating? So by the time I put what I want to say, I'm ready to move on to something else. I haven't followed closely what's going on, but only yesterday, Honorable Muntaka's video, a response that to somebody was sent to me, and I listened. I have enormous respect for Honorable Muntaka and Honorable Haruna. If I have a problem with them and their leadership, I'll tell them directly. They're my contemporaries. I won't go and be sitting somewhere discussing them and trying to take the sand from under their feet. Knowing who I am, I'm going to face it head on and say, I disagree with you on this decision that you have taken. I hope you reconsider. That's my nature. I'll do that with His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama.
Have you found anything to disagree with so
If I have anything to disagree with, I will tell them directly. And His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, I'm sure you know that. And you know, so when people have issues with leadership, I hope that they will channel their grievances through the right process.
And frustrations.
Yeah, whatever it is that you're feeling. Because you see, I've always said that we strive to get to some place that somebody already is, and how we denigrate that place or respect that place will ensure that when we get there, we'll receive the same that we are giving. So if one day I'm going to be in leadership in Parliament, do I want people to be speaking out of tune and like in a very disconcerted way? What do I want? What would I want? So I think that there's been a gap in communication.
Okay.
There's been a huge gap in communication. And so that I don't bring my party into disrepute, I would urge my party to close the gaps and put bridges so we can cross over. We shoot ourselves in the foot if we want to discuss leadership. I mean, they are at the pinnacle, and all of us down here, we're looking up to them. If something is not going right, we need to address it as soon as possible.
Do you think the agitation of the grassroots will impact the party's fortunes?
Oh, agitation. What's agitation? What hasn't happened before? Agitation, really?
There's nothing that's happened before. What does it mean? What
means that nothing crap has happened.
Oh, okay.
These are just you know, some ripple effects of things that are happening. But
so better communication.
I think that I think these are things we can solve as a party. We've gone through, you know, where the NDC is coming from. You know, I used to work in Mrs. Rollins's office.
Okay.
So I know how far we have come. And people talking is only because they have not been told what the reality is. They say if the crocodile tells you that I'm trying to say it in my language in my head and bring it into English.
Translate.
Comes out of the water to say that the fish is not well or the whale is sick. You better pay attention. The whale may be sick or it may not be sick. But there are other creatures in the sea who will testify whether the crocodile, the whale is indeed sick or not. So let's be guarded. I just want to urge all of us to be guarded what we do. Our actions collectively can affect our fortunes. Our inactions collectively can also affect our fortunes. So let's be guarded by that.
You seem to have come a long way.
Oh, yeah.
From very long way. Now you're here, you're the Member of Parliament for Ketu South. Do you have intentions of going further? Is there a mark that you have set for the future?
I don't know. You know, I think destiny has been in control, and I've just been following and allowing myself to be guided by the great I am, because I told you that I produced by the far side. And I was at 31st often, like every day I had to go there for one thing or the other. My desk was not in that office. My desk was still at the National Commission on Culture. But I went there every day because I needed to send a memo or to go and pick money for the work or to go and assist the women when they're sharing their paraphernalia. We used to share those paraphernalias in the office of the 31st December Women's Movement and all of that. But it was not at that time that I was nominated as the Deputy Minister for Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts. It was, how many years later? 13 years later.
A long time.
It's a long time. I went to I started doing by the far side in 1991, 92, and then we lost elections 2000, and there was a vacuum. We tried bringing it back 2005. We couldn't get sponsorship, and so it just fizzled out again. And all that period, I did not know that one day I'll become the Deputy Minister for Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts.
And after you became the Deputy Minister, did you plan to stop there, or what made you become?
I didn't plan anything. I just was there, and okay. I've always wanted to be an example to the young girls in Ketu South, because going there as a child and also as a student at Legon, I saw a gap that I thought that I could help fill.
Okay.
So that was my focus. But my late husband, bless his memory, said that, but we are doing it on a small scale. If you are the MP, you can do it on a bigger scale. And then some people also dared me by saying that she can't lead Ketu South. And I thought, only because I'm a woman, that's why you're saying that. So I will lead Ketu South. So I picked the challenge, and I worked hard to get into that appointment. But I don't know where grace will take me from here.
Right.
But so I surrender to
the journey of grace.
The journey of grace. My story is the story of grace. So.
Let's stay on Ketu South for a bit. You've been very vocal on many issues relating to Ketu South. Among them is the issue of the border closure. Some people think, of course, that the border should remain closed to contain the epidemic. Do you think contrary?
Yes.
Why? You think the border should?
No, I mean, we know that His Excellency President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has, I can recall 2 or 3 occasions that he's spoken about, he and his colleague, heads of state, consider opening their borders for economic development to go on amongst them. So I'm not the only person saying it. He said it too.
Okay. And you think it's time?
It's long overdue. What's the size of ECOWAS compared to Europe, compared to the US? How are they moving in their countries because they're vaccinated? 1.5 years down the line. Why are the vaccines for my people? So that we too can move around. And additionally, I've told all of you journalists on many platforms that don't take my word for it. Just send your interns, even the interns, send the interns to
Ketu South.
No, not to Ketu South. Well, you could also go to Ketu South, the lorry station, but also go to VIP station, go to STC, and go to all the other lorry stations where people are having to board vehicles that's going to Aflau. What are they going to do? Who has checked those people to see that they are not carrying any COVID? Why is it that somebody can travel miles and hours from Kumasi, for example, and go to Aflau, and then I cannot even walk to Aflau? Why? And Aflau is in Ghana and in Togo. 3 steps, I mean the Togo side of Aflau. 3 steps. There are people whose sleeping place is in Aflau, the Ghana one, and their drinking water is from Aflau, the Togo one. And those people can't go. And yet those who are traveling on the buses, they are going. It's unfair. It's unfair. And it's my place to speak about it.
Right. There are other issues in Ketu South, like the sea defense.
I mean, there's an adage in Ever. Meaning that you can't kill one, for example, duck, and get 2 hearts in one duck.
Okay.
But we've been hit by 2 things, 2 disasters: the pandemic and force majeure.
Okay.
Nature is holding us at our throat, taking people's homes that they've toiled to build. It may be a henku, but that's mine. That's what I've been able to afford for myself. And the sea takes that away. And if my source of income that builds that is through the border, it's been closed for a year and a half, can you imagine what my life is? So somebody will say that NADMO came. So NADMO came and brought blankets and rice. For how long can I be eating that olonka of rice that was given to me. For how long? And the ones that I sent, for how long can that sustain them? So we are really
strengthening of your own livelihood.
Yeah. And you see, it's not everybody who truly wants other people to feed them. There are people who want to live in dignity and look for their own source of money.
What's the solution?
The solution is opening the borders and building the sea defense. Build the sea defense, continue with the sea defense. Just 8 kilometers left.
For quite a while.
Sorry?
Why has it stalled for so long?
The sea defense?
Yes.
Well, Honorable, what's his name now? Minister for Works and Housing came to Ketu South and assured us that we will see something by the end of the year.
Okay.
So my fingers are tightly crossed and hoping that he's able to deliver on his promise. I'll be reminding him. Yes, I'll be reminding him.
At least this program serves as another reminder.
It is, absolutely. And of course, he and I are both parliamentarians, so the floor is our turf. We will go there and do the rest there. But in the interim, through the leadership and kindness of the Volta Caucus and President John Dramani Mahama, we've given them 1,000 bags of cement, so that the assembly can find a place to do a temporary structure while we wait. But that's how far we've been able to go right now. Yeah. The rest is in the hands of the state, which is empowered and mandated to take care of the citizens. Yes. So we're just demanding our pound of flesh and asking for a piece of the national cake. Right. Yes.
Now, let's remain with the Ketu, but the young women of Ketu South. You mentioned earlier that you've tried to be a role model to these young women. I'm sure other young women in Ghana. What do the young women of Ketu South struggle with the most? In COVID times, we've seen in other areas an increase in teenage pregnancy, for example.
We are high on the list. We are high on the list, especially with that teenage pregnancy things. And you know, in every community where there's avenue to make money, appreciation for education is not on the high side. Right. Because if you can find access to your daily bread, you don't think education is that important. Yeah. So it's one of the hurdles that I have in my constituency. And teenage pregnancy, I am told there's some work being done by the World Bank, and Ketu South is high there with high numbers of teenagers who are pregnant. So I've started visiting the secondary schools and going on radio. Anytime I go to Ketu, I try to go on radio to speak to them. To visit the schools and tell them my story. Because you see, if you don't know, then you are at a disadvantage. And if the person who should tell you, for example, your parents, if they themselves are not exposed to much, what can they impact? And then, with the numbers that we have in secondary schools now, it's not like when I was in secondary school. When I was in St. Louis Secondary School in Gomashie, we were 360 students in the boarding house. Today, there are about 2,000. So the contact time, the quality of the contact time that we had cannot be the same today.
Reduced.
So if you don't have that one-on-one with any particular teacher who can impact your life, and your parents couldn't do it, then all you are left with is math and science, right? So I'm trying to find the time to bridge that gap between the students and their parents and their teachers. It's a Herculean task. If you look at the numbers that we registered last year before the elections, we had 140,000 people, adults, you know, and so the figures that the census recently held will put out will scare everybody. There are many people, lots and lots of people. The population in Ketu South is huge. the MPP has been thinking that it's only when election time that people cross over to come and vote, and they put all those measures in to keep people away from coming in. But after all they did, you know how many votes I garnered for to be member of parliament?
How many?
84,664.
It's a lot of. And there are others who did not vote for you. So you can imagine.
Exactly.
That's a lot.
President Mahama got 86,528,000 people to vote for him. That's a huge number.
So you're saying people don't come from beyond the borders to come and join Ghanaians to vote?
But you tried. The borders are so closed. We are so complaining. The numbers are there. When the census figures are published, you all be able to tell the numbers that are there. But you know, the issue with the teenagers, young women, young adults, is one that we cannot leave to chance and hope that people will be able to break the cycle that they are exposed to. So if your mother was a teenager when she had you, what information would you have that will stop you from also doing that? We can't leave those to chance. So I've engaged the head of civic education in Ketu South, and I've told her I will make myself available to work with her.
Is that part of the skills development project that you're
No,
working
that's
on?
not part of the skills development project. This is part of the information sharing and empowerment of the young girls to take decisions that inure to their benefit, so that we can reduce the number of young people who get pregnant because of lack of information. The skills development is really not for only women. It's for the youth in general, and even old people who want to learn a skill.
Right.
You're never too old enough to learn something.
No, you're not.
So
something new.
We've adored the skills development project, and it's hairdressing, tailoring, phone repair, ICT, shoemaking, soap making, beads making,
you know,
makeup. I beg your pardon?
You know, I make soap.
Well, listen, you have not. Hopefully, there'll be a presentation now. Should I stop there or should I go on?
I have it in my car.
Should I stop here?
Stop it here. In fact, this is a good place to stop you. If you are home and you're watching, this is Spotlight. Before I'm taking hostage my own show by the Honorable Dzifa Gomashie, Member of Parliament of Ketu South. We're having a very spirited conversation with her. We're just talking about skills development in Ketu South. We're going to take a break here. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation. Stay with us.
Across Africa, nations are beginning to trade among themselves like never before, creating the largest continental market the world has ever seen. On the Single African Market Program, we will show you how products, services, capital and people will be crossing barriers as the continent and its citizens embrace a single market in a sustainable manner for growth and development to meet targeted UN development goals.
Congratulations, Your Excellency.
Get the latest update on all opportunities from the continent's trade house. Know the success stories and how challenges are being addressed. Africa is ready to trade among itself and the world, so are the people. The Single African Market is the voice of businesses that trumpets the vision of Africa everywhere. in association with the Government of Ghana, International Chamber of Commerce, Business for Peace Foundation, GIZ, UNECA, and UNDP.
The Single African Market, this Monday at 8 p.m. on MX24.
Welcome back to Spotlight. Thank you for sticking with us. We're still speaking with the Honorable Dzifa, Gomashie, Member of Parliament of Ketu South. You were speaking of skills development in Ketu South. Phone repairs, ICT, shoemaking, hairdressing,
beads making, soap making.
Okay.
And that's where you come in.
Yes,
one day you must make time and come and teach.
I will.
Some of yours. We can be your satellite office.
That's true.
And you give us the things, we do it for you. You come and pick your things.
That's a beautiful idea.
Yeah,
because I definitely need the help sometimes.
Yes, we'll provide the labor for you.
This is a good idea.
Yeah.
When we look at Ketu South, beyond skills development, especially this skills development is touching on the young people, or the young boys also.
Yes, all of them.
Yeah, that's a very good thing there. Let's go back, take a step back and look at recently the MMDC list that was the nominations. We had a lot of constituencies not agreeing with some of the people who had been nominated. Was Ketu South in full agreement?
Well, our election is on the 7th, I think.
Okay.
We are yet to do it.
Okay.
But feelings on the platform so far so good for the gentleman who has been nominated. Of course, you won't have everybody agreeing with you, but there's some people also.
Majority.
Yeah. But I think that what caught my attention was the comment by the current presiding member of the assembly, who was trying to calm tempers on a particular page that I'm on with him. That they'll do right. No, I think it was on radio rather. I was listening to him on radio. In Ketu South, I was listening to the radio station in Ketu South, and he was saying that they'll do right by him. And I don't have a vote, even though I'm a member of the parliament. The MP doesn't have a voting right, so I may not be observing. I'll just be observing. But listen, Ketu will tell you that I've said that anybody who works against me is working against Ketu South, and that's not a choice anybody should be making, really. Because, I mean, if you are not on the side of the people, you and I are going to have a bit of something that we won't be happy about. So all of us need to just focus on what we are going to use this honor, this blessing for. It's all about the people and the development of Ketu South.
There's also been the gender angle, where we see a list of 260 persons and only 38 women.
Embarrassing, actually. Embarrassing. In the 21st century, in 2021, we shouldn't be discussing this. I think that we should stop playing lip service. We should stop saying the right things and doing the wrong things. It's about time that when you are pointing, if we are going to vote, it's not acceptable, but it's understandable that if we are voting, should I repeat that?
Yes.
You blinked. It's not acceptable that there are less women in parliament. It's not acceptable. But it is understandable because it's about voting.
Yes.
But if you are pointing, come on.
Then you have enough power to
Absolutely.
ensure the figures are there.
And they do have the women, don't they?
Well, the excuse is there that they do not see as many women at that level as they would want.
You see, but that's very selective.
And a lot of women did not apply, they said.
Empower them to apply. I mean, it's so. Look, if we want reasons why we didn't appoint women, that I can even provide some to those who want excuses.
There are a lot of them.
We don't need the excuses. What we need now is affirmative, positive action.
Which was exactly my next question, because I had a panel here, in fact, on that day who discussed it. One of the women was of the view that we do not even have the leverage to hold anyone to task, to say you did not appoint enough women, because we don't have the instrument that requires that you appoint enough women, which is the Affirmative Action Bill. And it has tarried in Parliament.
Listen, you know, it may have, but after our president went on an international platform and goofed, he goofed. He made a comment that he got a retort for, and that alone should have guided the journey going forward.
Right.
That alone, that reaction he got on that international platform is good enough a reason for him to come back home and say, this is my opportunity, boom, 50-50. Even if they don't apply, use your own party structure. Use your party structure and identify people who are qualified and say, apply. We will nominate you. It's empowering. But if you're going to be elbowed out of the way anyway, if you're going to be elbowed out of the way, you may not have the confidence to even say that I'm offering myself for this. But if I know that you're going to go all out for me, why not? I may be emboldened to take that step.
Good one. Recently, let me take you a step back to acting. We have just a few minutes left, so let me exhaust that angle. We've had some veteran actors, not just one, not two, in their old age, coming out to beg the public for funds to be able to take care of themselves. What went wrong in that generation? Were they not paid enough? What's the problem?
So I started acting, or I got into the creative arts sector in 1985, 84, 85. And I don't recall being paid for most of the things that I did. So I started earning a stipend when I started doing work for NAFTI and also for GBC. It was pitiful how much was given to us. How do you save for your future? I recall that Gloria, the same Gloria I said, one of my Elizabeth, she and Anahima, Gloria said to me one day when she was in the US, no, she was in the UK, she wrote to me and she said, remember, you won't be able to dance forever. I used to dance, like I can be on stage dancing for an hour and I will not break a sweat.
I see.
And so she sent me a message and said, you need to go back to school. We are age mates. We're age mates. But when she saw that I was being consumed by the sector, and she reminded me that you need to go back to school, even if you want to continue dancing and acting. But get your certificate so that if you're unable to dance and act anymore, you can find a job. So that sound advice from my contemporary changed the way in which I looked at myself. So
you added
coming
value
back, absolutely, coming back to the older generation, for most of them, that's all they had. And they did it with so much passion. Yeah. We didn't put in measures to reward them for their work.
And a lot of the things they did are still being shown today.
Absolutely.
Should we be institutionalizing a system that's paying them royalties? Because if we're still showing these things and they're getting paid royalties, at least they'll still have something. There's
a whole revolution that has to occur in the sector. It was our wish and aspiration, and also perhaps our mandate as the first ministers of the sector, when the ministry was realigned through the executive instrument that President Mahama issued in 2013, and Creative Arts was brought into a place that they could identify as their ministry. It was part of the process that we were unfolding to make sure that those people are captured in a safety net. But unfortunately, 4 years was not enough to finish all of that. It is my hope that those who have inherited the place now, inherited is not the right word, those who are in office now will pursue that through the Creative Arts Council, through the conventions that we ratified, through the legal framework that we've made available, they need to move forward with the process that we started. And I'm sure that we won't be sitting here doing this story about people begging now, which is truly, truly very sad.
Sad, very sad.
Truly,
There's
truly
so
very
many
sad.
of them. Every other year, a few months, there's someone in the news for that.
Only a few actually get in the media. Some are suffering, but their stories are not in the media. So it's a big problem that we need to find a solution to.
Dzifa, let's end on a political note. The National
All of this
Democratic
has
Congress.
politics, by the way.
I know. Everything is so political these days. 2024 is approaching. It seems to be, 3 years away, but we can see from both parties a lot of campaigning has started already, sometimes subtly, sometimes in your face. Who is the best candidate to lead the National Democratic Congress into 2024?
How will I know what the people want?
Okay.
If you ask me, what do I want?
Which candidate do you want?
We don't have candidates yet. Nobody has picked any form.
Okay.
But
are there any that you would prefer to pick forms? Would you want me to pick a form?
President Mahama, go and pick the form.
Why do you want him to pick the form?
He has unfinished business. He owes us to finish the business.
There's nobody else that
I didn't say so.
Okay.
I'm saying that nobody has picked the form.
Okay.
But I think that he has unfinished business.
All right. That's who you want to pick the form.
I'm telling him to go and pick the form.
Okay. And there are arguments in some quarters within the NDC, even that he has only a term to go, and if he does pick the form, what happens to the next 4 years? A new candidate?
But the Constitution says 4 years.
Okay.
So who is giving him another 4 to make it 8?
Would it be enough to
the 4 years?
Major, yeah.
Oh yes. Look, the evidence of what he did with the first 4 years would take another session. When you have the time, invite me back.
I will.
And let's put the green book here and all the other things that are not in the green book, and then we can digest it.
I actually interviewed him.
You did?
I did, just before the election.
Is it?
Last year.
So the evidence of what he used the first 4 years for is there.
Right.
So I don't need anybody to convince me. I'm already converted.
Okay.
I'm already converted.
What about yourself? We've been looking at having more women take up major positions in parties. Have you considered picking up, nominating, filling a form to be the flag bearer?
Dzifa Gomashie?
Yes.
No, can I focus on Ketu South for now?
Dzifa Gomashie.
Like, I was like, who is talking about? You know, I said this the morning I was declared as the Member of Parliament for Ketu South by the EC rep in my constituency. In my speech, I said that it's an enormous task to be the first female in the southern part of the Volta region to be in Parliament.
Member of Parliament.
That's huge.
That's already a chain that you've broken.
In fact, I've brought the roof down. that was the agenda. One of the
now the path will be easier for the next woman.
My fingers are tightly crossed and hoping that some woman is inspired by my story, and to say that it's no secret that in the middle of the campaign my husband died.
Unfortunately.
But I finished the race. And that should tell women, that the women southern part of Volta region, that you can do this.
Indeed.
You can do this.
Indeed.
Yes.
Not just the women in the southern part of the Volta region can do it. I can do it, and you can do it.
I'm waiting.
We hope you've been well inspired listening to Honorable Dzifa Gomashie. We hope you have picked up something, even if it is a political angle, and of course will communicate back to us on our social media handles at MX24GH on all social media. On behalf of the entire production team here at MX24, we are so grateful that you dedicated 1 hour of your evening to us. Good evening.
Women, especially mothers, are the very core of our existence. Our everyday progression is hinged on the success of their activities. whether they are managing a home, a business, or raising the next generation. This is the Talkative Mom Show, where I interact with hardworking women who are making an impact in society. I'm Eno Craigrin, your plug for everything motherhood, especially in today's generation of millennial moms. Join me on the Talkative Mom Show, where I interact with my guests, have fun conversations here on MX24.
Then you is a poem. It's sweet, sweet, sweet. How can it be?
Politician's daughter was accused of drinking water and was fined a great big $50 bill. They've got an awful lot of coffee in Brazil.
Everybody has one. Abortion is a no-no. As a human being, you must take responsibility for all your actions and inactions. Your misjudgment shouldn't be enough grounds to take a life.
No. I disagree with you because look, if you do not legalize it, people will go to quack doctors anyway who might end up not just kill the baby but the mother as well.
Why should I waste my time, join a long queue under the hot sun to vote for a political party, knowing very well that nothing would be achieved at the end of the day?
Something will be achieved. It's your civic responsibility to turn out to vote. Vote and vote for a good leader.
Governments need to cater to every graduate, diversify the economy, invest in other sectors.
But the government cannot do it all. That is why we need the youth to take up the mantle and set up their own businesses. That is how we will create economic viability.
Here on Opposing Views, we take your views, my views, and the views of the experts and put them in the right context for you, our discerning viewers.
Across Africa, nations are beginning to trade among themselves like never before, creating the largest continental market the world has ever seen. On the Single African Market program, we will show you how products, services, capital and people will be crossing barriers as the continent and its citizens embrace a single market in a sustainable manner for growth and development to meet targeted UN development goals.
Congratulations, Your Excellency.
Get the latest update on all opportunities from the continent's trade house. Know the success stories and how challenges are being addressed. Africa is ready to trade among itself and the world, so are the people. The Single African Market is the voice of businesses that trumpets the vision of Africa everywhere, in association with the Government of Ghana, International Chamber of Commerce, Business for Peace Foundation, GIZ, UNECA, and UNDP.
The Single African Market, this Monday at 8 p.m. on MX24.
Let's take it back to yesterday, before the war, before the fights, you know they give me no funny replies, where you they send me memes for Easter, Yankasa, you know they beg, now say me fry, you know they answer, why you they say you know they need me, why you they treat me like a stranger. Girl, when I'm in love with you, and I don't want nobody, I don't want nobody, girl, I don't want nobody. I love the things you do, see, I don't want nobody, I don't want nobody, so I don't want nobody, and I don't wanna live a day without you. If you just tell me, say you just did play, say I don't.